Over 30 years of active service, a single British warship survived a volume of battle damage that should have sent her to the bottom of the ocean a dozen times over. At the 1916 Battle of Jutland, naval doctrine relied on a rigid line of battleships. These massive dreadnoughts moved in tight formations, trading broadsides in a slow, predictable grind. During the chaos of the fight, Vice Admiral David Beatty attempted to signal a crucial turn using traditional flags, but thick smoke from the funnels obscured the signals, causing a communication breakdown that left the ships of the 5th Battle Squadron isolated and exposed. As the formation fractured, HMS Warspite was hit by 15 heavy German shells, with projectiles up to 12 inches in diameter tearing into her hull. Under the strain of evasive maneuvers, her steering engine jammed under maximum load. The 32,000-ton Battleship began circling uncontrollably toward the enemy fleet, inadvertently acting as a steel shield for the smaller British cruisers while absorbing a continuous barrage of heavy fire. Warspite's survival at Jutland proved that the era of static formation-based warfare was over. To survive the next generation of combat, naval engineers had to move away from the rigid designs of the past and prioritize tactical independence and mechanical endurance. In 1934, Warspite was taken to Portsmouth Dockyard and stripped down to an empty hull. At a cost of £2.5 million, she was rebuilt from the inside out to handle the threats of a new world war. The team replaced 24 outdated boilers with 6 compact high-pressure units. This shrank the machinery space, removing 1,500 tons of dead weight and increasing her range. That weight was reinvested into 1,100 tons of armor over the magazines and engine rooms to stop aerial bombs. The engine rooms were further subdivided into 8 watertight compartments, a design intended to localize flooding and prevent a single torpedo hit from causing a total loss of power. This redistribution of weight and power hardened the hull against multi-domain attacks, ensuring that a ship designed for World War I could survive the high-altitude bombers and improved torpedoes of the 1940s, with her defenses modernized. The next step was extending her offensive reach. Modern combat required the ability to hit targets far beyond the natural horizon. Engineers elevated the 15-inch turrets to 30 degrees, pushing her range to 32,300 yards. To hit targets 18 miles away, she used the Admiralty Fire Control Table. This mechanical computer solved ballistics equations, accounting for wind, air density, and enemy movement. To give the computers eyes, designers removed the original torpedo tubes and added a cross-deck catapult and 2 aircraft hangars midships. Warspite could now launch her own reconnaissance floatplanes. These aircraft function as independent scouts, flying miles ahead of the ship to spot the fall of shot and radio back corrections to the gunners. By combining mechanical computing with aerial scouting, Warspite evolved into an independent strike platform, capable of finding and destroying targets that the crew on the bridge couldn't even see. These upgrades were put to the test immediately in World War II, as Warspite fought in every theater from the frozen fjords of Narvik to the heat of the Mediterranean. In 1941, during the Battle of Crete, a 500-pound Luftwaffe bomb struck her forecastle. While it tore open her deck and destroyed her secondary guns, the reinforced armor held, allowing her to stay afloat and reach a repair yard. Her greatest trial came during the 1943 Salerno landings. A 3,400-pound Fritz X-guided bomb punched through 6 armored decks and blew a 20-foot hole in her keel, causing a total loss of power and flooding her with 5,000 tons of seawater. Despite the damage, she refused to sink. Patched with concrete and operating with bent propeller shafts and a jammed aft turret, she returned to action only months later. In her crippled state, she provided the heavy naval gunfire support that suppressed German defenses during the Normandy and Walcheren landings. firing until her gun barrels were physically worn out. Her service earned her 15 battle honors, the most for any ship in Royal Navy history. It was Admiral Andrew Cunningham who gave her the nickname that would define her legacy. The Grand Old Lady. Naval supremacy isn't defined by the age of the It is built through the technical engineering and doctrinal flexibility required to keep a great war relic out fighting the weapons of a new generation.